All right. Supergirl. So I just came back from watching Supergirl, and I do have some interesting thoughts about this movie. Now, unlike a lot of people who have been going, "Oh, this is the worst movie ever," and all that kind of thing, I don't think this is the worst movie ever. And in fact, I don't even think that this movie is bad, and I don't think it is a great movie. It's one of the in between you get from people when they're talking about this movie. What this movie is is I think it's what you call a movie that fill every assignment. You know, if you we all know that we are in an age where okay, we are in the time where superhero movies is dying. It's not like oh the entire it's over for superhero movie, but the old traditional superhero movie, there's this guy, he has a story, he's going to um end up saving the day and going to end up having this conclusion. That format is gone. I would say it's entirely gone, it's eradicated. And Supergirl is in that format. She's finding this particular bad guy. She's trying to stop the bad guy from hurting other people. But in this case, they changed the ending, and the ending is what's unique about it. It kind of gives it that every the superhero is in the gray area. But I would say that if the Supergirl wants to be in that gray area, it should lean into that gray area. Superhero movie now has to be exceptional or different. We have movies like we have shows like Invisibles and The Boys, which is completely different from your traditional superhero movies, and that's why we have this age where the evil Superman is trending, where you can't be the same old good guy. You can't using that good guy trope, saving the day, and that's the end of the movie. You have to lean into this gray area, and you have to tell the story differently. So we've had interesting movies like that kind of tell superhero movies that are completely different. And Supergirl tried to have that format that is outdated, and I don't think when James Gunn is selling everybody knows that superhero movie is in a shaky position. And when James Gunn or the DCU or people that are planning James Gunn and Peter Safran, when they're planning the entire DCU, the entire selling point is that we are going to make sure that we are producing superhero or we are going to this comic book content that is different. That is why I buy into the idea of Superman. That's why I buy into the idea of Clayface. Now, the everything in between is up for debate, and that's one reason why the creature commandos worked a bit, because it still buy into this gray area. Now, the acting in Supergirl isn't 100%. The Miliakok thing was good. I think people that don't like crypto in Superman, if you watch this movie, at least in my own opinion, I don't think it's going to help this is going to help. Sorry, this is going to help your argument of not liking crypto. It's not that because of we got less screen time for crypto, is that the story of what they're trying to convey of the character of Supergirl, it doesn't fit perfectly with how crypto is being introduced into this show. Sorry, into this movie. And also it's also how the show fitted. I saw a review one time. So talking about so how Supergirl feels like it's the first episode of a particular season. And if this was particular this going to be a season, I think after episode one, every other episode is going to be boring, because I don't think there's any direction. And you could tell that this is the first time it's the first feature film for the screenwriter. Now, I don't want to go into that because I do that there's room for achievement, but I would say that if the DCU is going to use this format forward, they shouldn't just bother with it. It's what MCU um, was doing towards the end, and now they have to look for either capitalizing on the big names, or they just have to change the entire format completely. And that's what they did with Wonder Man, which what made Wonder Man make sense. So I'm trying not to go into the spoilery thing, but I also another thing I noticed is when it comes to what you call this needle drop for Supergirl, I think the needle drop is it's lacking. Like I would say that it should have been more better if they didn't use any needle drop at all. Probably the only place where you could use needle drop, there's a particular scene where someone was singing. I think that one would have made sense for a needle drop. This particular scene where Supergirl was listening to music should have made sense if the needle drop would have fit with the particular tone of what you could imagine what she's actually listening to, and it leads to another scene. So in the beginning, there was a music playing. I think that one made more sense. It was going to the intro. Then there's that particular scene where she had to play music when she was on Earth. It's made no sense the way the song was coming in. So overall, if I'm to rate this particular movie, I think the acting is. I have to talk about Lobo. At the beginning, the reviews I've been getting about Lobo, I've been reading about Lobo, I've been seeing about Lobo is this Momo is born for this role, this Momo is born for this role. I think while it is the role that he chose and is the role that he deserves, I don't think the material he has to work with is something that is what like he tried with it. I think that's what every single actor or creative tried. They tried working with what they had, and it's well, okay. You did great. Miracle was good as Supergirl. His Momo was okay as Lobo, but what you had to work with doesn't really. You could create a new character and it still makes sense. You won't feel that that was actually supposed to be Lobo. So I think that's where they were lacking with this. I think there are some other complaints I do have. Actually, editing. Well, I noticed the editing issue with this show. I think so with this movie. I keep calling it show because that's what it feels like. I noticed the editing issue with this movie, and um, I feel that there was a bit of love and energy while making the movie. I think the script is not that okay, but when it comes to the production of the movie, we could feel that there was this love and this trying to actually produce something, and everybody was going with. They were making all the the prosthetic, the all the costumes and everything was still okay. Though there are some things that still doesn't really make sense in all those things, but I could actually skip the logic. But where the issue came in was in post production. The editing was bad. It's not great, but it's not great. The needle drop and the music, it's not great. The sound design was okay. I think everything was okay, but I feel like there was an issue after the movie was made and they were editing it. I feel like there's an internal issue that they need to resolve. And if you've been following the interviews after the release of the movie, that's the Craig Gillespie interviews. I think Miracle didn't give much. Peter Safran's interview, you could feel that from Peter Safran's point of view, is like trying to mitigate whatever he could mitigate and trying to salvage whatever he could salvage. But from the Craig Gillespie side of things, it's like how can I move ahead from this thing? And there's this particular quote where he basically blamed James Gunn for the final needle drop. And he was like, oh, we had 45 songs and James Gunn had input. But you could feel from the tone from the publication that actually released that article, you could feel that this is just like a campaign of let's push all the blame to the studio. So I don't think this is going to lead to any release the correct cut or those kind of thing. but you could feel that while they love what they are doing, there was kind of a lot of interference by the studio, and it just let the editing go out of place. So at the point where you're supposed to feel the emotional connection with Kara, with what happened in Argo, and all the families and the parents she lost, and everything that she lost, you could it's in between scenes where okay, this is leading to a backstory. You couldn't feel that the backstory. So by the time it's done, when you I want to feel something, it now takes you completely out of that feeling, and you're no longer there, and it's just like, well, like I wasn't supposed to feel something over there, and it's all over the place. It's just I feel like the post production of the movie is completely gone. There was an issue. So whatever DC Studios is going to do henceforth, they have to look at it, and we can't have a situation where James Gunn is doing everything. Even I don't think at some point people are just going to give up, because it's not like, oh, it's a James Gunn movie, it's a James Gunn project, it's a James Gunn project. It's kind of giving um I don't have I control of exactly what I'm doing, and I won't blame people when people are calling for his head in a way, but I feel like there's a particular advice by John Campia which says that if it's going to be the head of DC Studios, it should be the head of DC Studios. If it's going to be a creative in DC Studios, it should be it should be a creative in DC Studios. I don't think it can juggle everything. If the best case or the worst case scenario, or the advisable case scenario is if this whole thing with Paramount goes through, if they are even looking for a change for a position for James Gunn, which I think Ego will end up coming in, is they should either make Peter Safran the head of James Gunn, like Peter Safran above James Gunn, or they should put someone above James Gunn, and James Gunn should just have full control of what he wants to do creatively. Let someone else handle the business side completely, and that person having the business side should be his boss. But I feel that James Gunn will not want anybody above him, and ego will just come into play and kind of ruin everything. But though I still have a lot of hope for the DCU, it's not necessarily that your movies are great. Having great movies all the time will lead to diminishing return. And if you have it earlier on, I think you can just learn and make sure that every project are different. If they are going also like the marketing, if you are going to appeal to this particular audience, lean into what you're appealing to. And though I don't see any issue with Milia Cork doing the press junket and all those interviews. Though I see that there was kind of an attack which was caused by how it was presented. But I feel that if she's going more into the role and she's going more into being an actor, she would say that okay, be able to identify when things are looking like, oh, they're trying to use her for bait. So it's one of the things James Gunn is trying to fight by having to respond to people on social media. But the media can be brutal sometimes, and able to identify and be able to know exactly how to maneuver all those things is what really matters. So overall, this movie, it's around a 7.5. For every other movie, this movie will be great. It's basically every other movie. But for what you are trying to convey, I decided to talk about the book and the comic rather. So let's just ignore the comic for now. I think the best way to watch this movie is not even knowing what the comic is all about. So it's for every other movie, it's a 7 point. It will be like a 9 or 10. But for what they are trying to convey, especially with the editing and post production issues, I think this movie deserves a 7.5, and 6 would be like, oh, it is very bad. But let me just give them pop. But I think 7.5 is okay. 7.5 over 10. Um, I don't think this studios will ever work with Craig Dempsey. Um, if they had any plan with him, um, they might put him somewhere, but I think that he's trying to salvage what he can as a director. I do hope I'm wrong, But whatever issue they had during the editing process of this film, they have to sort it out and they have to reconsider and rethink what the plan for the DCU is. But overall, if it's going to be different movies and it's going to make DC studios feel like a normal studio, just that it's controlling DC IP, then they have to know what they're doing. Forget interconnected universe and just give us movies that would actually make sense. My name is Adedayo. This is Streamdorm and this is my review for Supergirl. I'll be doing more of this by God's grace. I have more shows to cover, and luckily for me, I'm done with school, so I'll be able to cover more of this very often. I still have starting line episodes. I still have 2 episodes. I'm supposed to edit them before I started this recording, but I just had to talk about Supergirl. I had to say Supergirl and talk about Supergirl, and stick to us, subscribe, follow, share, like, do that thing, and see you when next I see you. Bye for now.